Stop whatever you are doing. Seriously, if you have a trowel in one hand and a coffee in the other, put the coffee down for 2 minutes, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change how you look at your garden for the rest of this year. Here's the mistake almost every single home gardener makes, and it costs them an entire season of food. They think July is a dead zone. They think the planting window slammed shut back in May. So they spend July just watering, weeding, and watching their spring garden slowly wind down. Meanwhile, their soil sits there, warm, rich, and completely wasted, for weeks at a time. That mindset is costing the average backyard gardener literally hundreds of dollars in produce they could have grown for free. Think about it. A single grocery store zucchini right now costs almost $2. A pack of seeds costs $3 and gives you 30 zucchini. July isn't the end of the growing season. For a huge number of crops, it is the second beginning. Soil temperatures in July are hotter than they'll be at any other point in the year, which means seed germination happens faster than in April or May. Some seeds that took 2 weeks to sprout in spring will crack open in 4 or 5 days right now. And here's the contrast that should light a fire under you. Everyone else's garden is starting to look tired, leggy, and bug-eaten by late July. But the gardeners who plant strategically this month are about to have a fresh, vibrant second harvest rolling in right when everyone else's garden is dying off. You are either going to be the person walking into the grocery store in October paying inflated fall prices, or you're going to be the person walking out to your backyard with a basket. Now here is your curiosity loop, and I want you to really sit with this one. Item number 15 on this list has a hard, non-negotiable deadline. If you do not get this particular vegetable into the ground within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you will not get a harvest from it at all this year. Not a smaller harvest, not a late harvest. Zero. This is the crop most beginners completely forget about in July, and by the time they remember, it's already too late. They end up buying the exact thing they could have grown for pennies at triple the price in October. So stick with me all the way to the end, because I'm going to give you the exact date math on this one. Let's get into the list. First up, bush beans. The common mistake here is people think beans are a spring-only crop because that's when everyone plants them. So by July, their bean patch is done, pods are drying out, and they just rip the whole thing up. Here's the pivot. Bush beans mature in 50 to 60 days. That means a bean seed planted in the first week of July is producing a full second harvest by the end of August, right when your spring beans have completely finished. This is called succession planting, and commercial farms have used this exact technique for decades to keep a constant supply flowing instead of one single harvest window. For deep value here, go with varieties like Provider or Contender. These two specific cultivars are bred for faster germination in warmer soil and are far more resistant to the bacterial blights that tend to show up in midsummer humidity. Soak your seeds for 12 hours before planting. This single micro-adjustment can shave 2 full days off germination time in hot soil. Picture this. It's late August. Your neighbor's bean plants are shriveled brown stalks, and you're out there in the evening light snapping fresh, crisp beans off a plant that's only 6 weeks old. That's the payoff of understanding timing instead of just following a calendar blindly. Next up, cucumbers. The frustration almost every gardener faces is that their spring cucumber plants get hit with powdery mildew by mid-July and just collapse. Vines turn white and crispy and production grinds to a halt. The game changer is realizing that instead of nursing a dying, diseased plant, you rip it out and start completely fresh with new seed. A brand new cucumber vine planted in July has zero exposure to the mildew spores that have built up in your soil all season, giving it a clean run at pollinator season, which is actually stronger in late summer because bee activity peaks in the July heat. Go with Marketmore 76 or Straight 8 for direct sowing. Plant seeds an inch deep. And here's the technical trick almost nobody knows. Mound your soil slightly, about 2 inches high before planting. This improves drainage in a way that dramatically reduces root rot risk during summer thunderstorms. The payoff is a fresh, crisp cucumber harvest arriving in early September, exactly when you're craving cool, hydrating produce the most, and exactly when the store-bought ones start looking wilted and overpriced. Moving on to summer squash and zucchini. Here's the myth. People think one zucchini planting is enough for the whole year because everyone always has too much zucchini. But squash vine borers absolutely devastate spring plantings by midsummer, and most gardeners don't realize their zucchini production has actually stopped weeks before they notice. The pivot is that a second planting in July dodges the peak borer moth-laying window almost entirely, since the moths have already laid their eggs on your spring plants. For deep specifics, plant Success PM or Golden Glory and directly sow rather than transplanting. Squash hates root disturbance, and direct sown seeds outperform transplants by a wide margin in speed to harvest. Water at the base only, never overhead, because wet squash leaves in July humidity are basically an invitation for powdery mildew. The reward is simple and sensory. An unbroken supply of zucchini running clean through September and October, right through your fall cooking season. Soups, breads, and sautés, without the gap everyone else experiences. Next on our list is corn. The common mistake is assuming corn is a one-shot spring crop. Most home gardeners plant one block in April or May and call it done for the year. The pivot here is early July corn plantings, particularly in the first 10 days of the month, still have enough of a growing window to mature before the first frost in most temperate regions, giving you a second, later harvest of fresh sweet corn precisely when everyone else's corn patch is finished. Choose a fast-maturing variety like Bodacious or Sugar Buns, both of which come in around 70 to 75 days. Plant in blocks, minimum 4 rows by 4 rows, never a single line, because corn is wind-pollinated and a single row will produce embarrassingly empty, patchy ears. Picture that late September evening where you're grilling fresh corn nobody else in your neighborhood has anymore. Sweet, milky kernels bursting with flavor that store corn lost days ago in transit. Then we have okra. The frustration people run into is planting okra too early in cool spring soil, where it germinates painfully slowly or rots outright, souring gardeners on the crop entirely. Here's the game changer. Okra actually loves July. It is one of the true heat lovers of the vegetable world, thriving in soil temperatures that would stress out almost anything else in your garden. Go with Clemson Spineless or Jambalaya. Nick the seed coat slightly with a nail file or soak overnight. This dramatically speeds germination in a notoriously slow to sprout seed. Harvest pods when they're no longer than 4 inches. Anything longer turns woody and inedible almost overnight. The payoff is a steady, almost daily harvest running clear through early fall, perfect for gumbo, frying or roasting, from a plant most people wrongly assume needs to go in the ground back in April. Moving on to southern peas, also known as cowpeas or black-eyed peas. The myth is that peas are strictly a cool season crop, so people write off planting any kind of pea in the dead heat of July. The pivot is understanding there's a completely different category here. Southern peas, which include black-eyed peas, crowder peas, and purple hull peas, are actually a warm season legume that specifically wants hot July soil to germinate well. Plant pink-eye purple hull or Mississippi silver for a high-yield, disease-resistant crop that matures in around 60 to 70 days. These fix nitrogen in your soil as they grow, meaning you're literally improving your soil for next year's crops while harvesting food this year. The reward is a freezer full of shelled peas by early fall, a crop almost nobody else in your area is growing, giving you a genuinely unique harvest for the effort of tossing a few seeds in warm dirt. Now, if you've made it this far, it means you aren't an average amateur gardener throwing seeds in the ground and hoping for the best. You are someone who's serious about actually mastering the timing behind a productive garden. We spend days doing deep dive research just like this, digging through agricultural extension data and testing timing windows so you don't have to guess and waste an entire growing season. So hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly breakthrough guides. Because what we're covering next is exactly how to set up your fall brassica harvest, arguably the most overlooked opportunity in the entire vegetable calendar. Let's keep going. Next up, carrots. The common frustration here is people plant carrots only in early spring, and by July, they've completely forgotten carrots exist as an option, assuming the window is long gone. The pivot is that carrots planted in the second half of July for a fall harvest actually develop sweeter flavor than spring carrots. This happens because cooler autumn temperatures trigger the plant to convert starches into sugars as a natural frost defense mechanism. Choose Danvers 126 or Nantes half long for a fall crop. Sow seeds a 1/4 inch deep, and here's the specific micro trick professional growers use. Cover the row with a board or damp burlap for the first 4 to 5 days. Carrot seeds need constant moisture to germinate, and this simple cover prevents the soil surface from drying out in July heat, which is the #1 reason carrot seeds fail this time of year. The payoff is pulling up carrots in late October that are noticeably sweeter and crunchier than anything you grew in spring, a genuinely different, better tasting product from the exact same seed packet. Then we have beets. The myth here is that beets are a strictly spring-only root crop, similar to the carrot misconception. The game changer is a July-planted beet crop punches right through and dodges the leaf miner infestations that plague spring beets, since the adult flies laying those eggs have largely finished their cycle by midsummer. Plant Detroit, dark red or Chioggia. Soak the seed clusters, which are actually small seed pods containing multiple seeds, for 2 hours before planting to soften the outer shell and improve germination speed in warm soil. The reward is a clean, unblemished beet harvest by fall, giving you both the sweet roots and the nutrient-dense greens on top, meaning 2 vegetables from a single planting. Let's talk about broccoli. The common mistake is starting broccoli far too late, like in September, when it's genuinely too cold for the plant to size up properly, leading to small, disappointing heads. The pivot is starting broccoli seeds indoors right now in July, under a grow light or in a bright spot. So you have sturdy 4 to 5 week old transplants ready to go into the garden in mid-August, exactly when the fall growing window opens. Go with Belstar or Waltham 29 for the best fall cold tolerance. The specific hack: keep seedling trays out of direct afternoon sun during this indoor start, since July heat can actually cook young broccoli seedlings on a windowsill. Picture harvesting dense, tight broccoli heads in October, a crop that actually tastes better and grows larger in fall than in a rushed spring planting, because broccoli genuinely prefers cool finishing weather. Next is cabbage. The frustration here is most people only think of cabbage as a spring crop and never realize a fall cabbage often outperforms it in both size and flavor. The pivot is the same principle as broccoli. Start seeds indoors now for transplanting in early to mid-August, giving cabbage the sweet spot of warm early growth, followed by cool finishing temperatures that develop denser, sweeter heads. Choose early Jersey Wakefield for a faster fall harvest, or storage number 4 if you want cabbage that holds well into winter. Space transplants a full 18 to 24 inches apart. Overcrowding is the single biggest reason homegrown cabbage heads stay small and loose instead of tight and heavy. The payoff is a fall cabbage so dense and sweet you'll wonder why you ever bothered with the spring version. Then there's kale. The myth is that kale needs cool spring weather to even get started, so people skip planting it entirely by summer. The pivot is that kale is remarkably heat tolerant as a seedling and, when direct sown in July, will be perfectly sized to hit peak sweetness once the first light frosts of fall arrive, since frost actually improves kale's flavor by reducing bitterness. Plant winterbore or red Russian directly in the ground, a 1/4 inch deep. Mulch heavily around the seedlings, using a specific 2-inch layer of straw to keep soil temperatures down and prevent the bolting that ruins so many summer-planted greens. The reward is a continuous cut-and-come-again harvest running from September all the way past the first frost, bringing you some of the sweetest, most tender kale you'll grow all year. Don't overlook collard greens. The frustration is people treat collards as a niche crop only grown in specific regions, missing that they're one of the most forgiving fall greens available. The pivot is that collards planted in July shrug off the heat that would kill more delicate greens, then power through into a long extended fall harvest that survives frost better than almost anything else in your garden. Go with Georgia Southern or Champion. Thin seedlings to 12 inches apart and harvest outer leaves continuously rather than waiting for a single big cut, which keeps the plant producing new growth for months. The payoff is fresh collards on your table well into November in most regions, long after your other summer crops have completely finished. Now for Brussels sprouts. The common mistake is starting Brussels sprouts too late, since most people don't realize this is one of the longest maturing vegetables in the entire garden, needing 80 to 100 days minimum. The pivot is that right now, in early July, is genuinely your last realistic window to start seeds indoors for transplanting in August, giving the plant enough time to develop firm, tight sprouts before hard frost locks in their flavor. Choose Long Island Improved or Jade Cross, the specific technique that separates a good harvest from a bad one. Once sprouts begin forming along the stalk, snap off the lower leaves to redirect the plant's energy directly into sprout development instead of leaf growth. Picture harvesting your own Brussels sprout stalk by stalk in late fall, each one sweetened by frost, a world apart from the bitter, mushy version most people only know from the grocery store. Then we have cauliflower. The myth is that cauliflower is simply too finicky and temperamental for most home gardeners to bother with. The pivot is that a fall cauliflower crop, started indoors this month, is dramatically more forgiving than a spring crop. This is because it grows into cooling weather instead of racing against rising spring heat, which is what causes cauliflower to prematurely button and fail in the first place. Plant snow, crown, or amazing. The specific expert trick: once the head or curd reaches about the size of an egg, gather the outer leaves up and tie them loosely over the top. This process, called blanching, keeps the head pure white and prevents the sun from turning it yellow and bitter. The reward is a picture-perfect snow-white cauliflower head by late October, grown by your own hands, from a vegetable most gardeners assume they simply can't succeed with. And finally, the big one I told you about at the very beginning: pumpkins. Here is the timing that changes everything. The common mistake, the one that costs people an entire pumpkin harvest every single year, is thinking pumpkins are a spring crop. They see pumpkins associated with October and assume that means late summer planting is fine. It is not. Pumpkins need a genuinely long runway, anywhere from 90 to 120 days depending on variety, to go from seed to a fully mature, deeply orange, ready to carve pumpkin. Here's the exact deadline math. If you want pumpkins ready by mid-October and you count backward 100 days, you land right in early July. This is not a flexible suggestion. This is the actual, non-negotiable planting window. Miss the first 2 to 3 weeks of July, and your pumpkins simply will not have enough time to fully ripen before the first frost kills the vine. You'll end up with a patch of green, immature pumpkins in October, which is exactly what happens to the majority of first-time gardeners who find this out the hard way year after year. This is the one thing that separates the struggling ones from the productive ones. Understanding that the biggest, most visually rewarding crop on this entire list has the tightest deadline of them all. For variety, choose Connecticut Field for that classic large jack-o'-lantern shape, or Baby Bear if you want smaller pie pumpkins with genuinely excellent flavor for baking. Plant in hills, several seeds per mound, spaced a full 6 feet apart, since pumpkin vines will sprawl aggressively across your entire yard if given the space. Once vines are established, pinch off the very tip of the main vine after it's produced 2 or 3 fruits. This redirects the plant's energy into maturing those pumpkins fully rather than continuing to grow endless vine length. Picture this moment in mid-October. Your own homegrown pumpkins, deep orange, heavy, sitting on your porch, grown from a seed you planted with intention back in the first week of July, while your neighbors are paying premium prices at a pumpkin patch for something you grew yourself for the cost of a seed packet. The clock is ticking on this one specifically. Every single day you wait past the first 2 weeks of July is a day you are cutting directly out of your pumpkin's ripening window. There is no shortcut around this timeline. This is the one item on this entire list where delay does not mean a smaller harvest. It means no harvest at all. So here's what I want from you. Down in the comments, tell me 2 things: your general growing region and which one of these 15 vegetables you are planting first this week. Are you racing the clock on pumpkins, or are you going straight for a second round of zucchini? I read every single comment and I want to see exactly what you're planting and where, because your answer might be exactly what convinces someone else scrolling through these comments to stop putting it off and get outside today.